Am I live? Is it working? It says I've been live for 6 seconds, so I guess I'll go with that. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is the second Form Check Friday that I've done, and this one I'm going to try and structure a little bit better so it can move quicker and I can help more people, because I noticed on the last one there weren't a lot of views after I went live, so I think that people are tuning in and I'm droning on too long. So I'm going to try and keep it moving fairly quickly. If you're here, let me know in the chat. If you have questions, I'll try to answer those as I go, but I'm not going to spend as much time answering the questions. I'm going to save that towards the end. So after I'm done with all the form checks and everybody who's come for the meat of the content, they've seen all that, and then they can stay and stay for the questions or not. But I will try to answer your questions as I can, but otherwise save them for the end. Please remember to ask them again at the end. So also I have everybody who I'm giving a form critique to. I went ahead and watched the videos ahead of time and curated them, so I have them listed out in the description. And what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to go through and timestamp them. So if you're looking for help with a specific issue, you can go through and see what am I going to say? I completely lost all my words there. Oh, you can see who has the same issue and you can find what timestamp it's going to be at. So let's go ahead and start here. This is Marc. And Marc has done a great job filming this video. It's in slow motion, which is fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be in slow motion because YouTube has native slow motion built in down here. I don't know if you can see that. No, it's over here on the gear icon. Oh, I haven't switched it. There it is. All right. YouTube has native slow motion built in, but slow motion is fine from the side so I can see the disc pass in front of you. That's ideal. Let's go ahead and watch this here. His X step is pretty smooth. He doesn't look like he's moving too fast. See his weight's over his toe there. That's good. But the issue that I'm seeing is a little bit of nose up. Let's watch that one more time. All right. Also, is he turning his head all the way? Is he taking his eyes off the target? It looks like he's turned a little bit far forward. So his issue is a high reach back. This is a very common issue, a very, very common issue, and that's what's causing the nose up. Oh, Mom's in the chat. Thanks for watching, Mom. Is she a moderator? Okay, good. She needs to be a moderator. What's up, Haley? So a high reach back is where the disc here is above your collarbone. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Nope. This number. There it is. If the disc here is ever at a height that's above the collarbone, the disc is going to dip as you throw it, and it's going to come out on a nose-up angle. So kind of the way to fix it is to try and throw higher, because that's going to lower your reach back and raise your follow-through, and that will cause the disc to come out nose down. So here, as we watch him throw, his reach back is up high, and now the disc is nose down, but it flips right there, and it comes out nose up. I'm going to see if I can do it with this. There's frame by frame. So right here, the disc is on the correct angle, and then as he throws it, it flips to be that nose up angle. So here, I'm going to switch to this one and talk about it. By the way, this getaway here, I got some questions about this on my last video that I uploaded. I had this as like the end screen thing. This was a die that was done for me as a Secret Santa. What's up, Justin? Haley says, almost like Val's form, very similar to Valerie Jenkins, but I would say Valerie Jenkins is very successful with her form, and I would not tell her to change anything at all. So if you reach high, it can seem like you're going to throw it down, but actually it dips, like you see right here from Marc, and causes a nose up release. So if you're trying to work on that, you want to reach back low. Get your weight over your toes and keep the disc around like upper waist, like mom jean height, right? Like, you know mom jeans that are way up here. That's generally where the height of your reach back should be. And then you'll be able to reach back lower and follow through high, and the disc will come out nose down relative to their trajectory. Relative, I don't know if you can hear me back there. Relative to the trajectory, right? So if I'm throwing a disc flat, then the nose angle should be flat. But if I'm trying to throw it up in the air, I don't want the nose angle to be flat, because then the disc is just going to get pushed down and crash into the ground right away. You want to have it up so it matches the height that you're throwing. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Anybody in the chat I guess as it's catching up, I'm not very good at this. I got to pause it so I don't see a time delay there. Mom jeans, not your mom jeans, but the mom jeans. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Those high-waisted denim jeans get kind of far up there. He is rounding slightly, but that's going to be a topic for a different form critique that I'm doing. So let's watch this. Oh, I need to pull up the other videos. I knew I was forgetting something. I mainly don't show my screen here because all of the thumbnails that pop up are just Fortnite. And I'd like you to think higher of me than that, but it's not really that required. All right, let's flip back over here. What is it? It's at 220. There's a sick slow motion of Paige Pierce here. There it is. There we go. See, her reach back relative to her collarbone is a little bit lower. I guess that's not the best example because it's a little bit higher. What am I trying to do? Back to YouTube. Yeah, here's the throat. This is Peter McBride. I'm going to transition back here. Peter McBride, you can see here. Come on. All right. Going frame by frame here. There, that's an optimal height for a reach back here. See, it's about 6 inches or so below his collarbone. That's where you want it so the disc can come out nose down. Trond Mjos says, have the timer still didn't make it on time. That's all right, you didn't miss much. I'm trying to go pretty quick so we can keep it on pace. The path of the disc as you pull it through is still an arc no matter how straight you try to pull it through. If you start with the nose down, it will end the arc nose up. Yeah, mostly. I guess I'm thinking if you're doing like a big spike hyzer, you set it down here and then you can pull it straight through up here. I don't see that being much of an arc. I guess a roller might be because it'll come up and down, but I don't know. I know as soon as it gets up in the air, then it does create that arc. Chocolate milk on my lip again. No, that's just my mustache. I don't know if you've seen one before. It's when a man has hair on his upper lip. That's what it's called, as a mustache. Good evening, Trund. Thank you, Solo. Good job on Answer Man the other day. Oh, Justin Allred got the harp I sent him. Okay, back to the actual content. All right, the next one is Bill. I gotta go ahead and copy this URL over. What's up, Scott? I'm doing good things. Thank you. All right, so we'll go over here, transition over to Bill. Let's watch his form a little bit here. His X steps, not too bad. His stance is a little bit open there, but let's see if we can see the main issue here. I should definitely silence my phone. Oh, we're gonna run it back to here. Does anybody see the issue? Any guesses? We'll run it through one more time here. All right, so I think that Bill's issue here is rounding. The biggest issue that he's having is rounding, and that's when the joint here on your shoulder is less than 90 degrees. Boy, I should have worn a lighter colored shirt. That's kind of hard to see. I think I have just a solution. Hang on. Found it. Boy, talk about a throwback. I'm also going to shut my closet door. All right. So rounding is when this shoulder joint is less than 90 degrees. That's when you're not taking advantage of the anchor here and you're rounding the disc as you throw it. Now the reason that Bill here is rounding is because he's not committing to his reach back. So here I'm going to switch it back over. Here his eyes are still looking forward as the disc is being reached back, and that means his shoulders are not turned all the way away from the target. Okay, and so if you're reaching the disc straight back here and your shoulders aren't turned all the way at the target, that already sets up this angle wrong, too acute. So you can't look forward and still reach straight back. You have to take your eyes off of the target, turn your shoulders 90 degrees so they're pointed away from the target, then you can extend the disc back. and this angle will be correct. Because if your shoulders are turned all the way and you're extending the disc straight back, then this angle will be 90 degrees. So that's his issue, is because he's trying to look forward at the target. Now for an upshot or something where you're not trying to reach necessarily straight back, you're kind of halfway reaching back, then here I don't have to turn my shoulders all the way and I can still look forward. And that still sets up this angle correctly. But for a big throw, a power throw, a drive, you need to make sure and commit to turning away from the target. I know a lot of people try to aim with their eyes. They try to look at what they're aiming at, and that's not necessarily going to help. Because if you think about it, like if you're looking at something and then you try and throw, you're probably going to throw it to the right. So you can't see that. I didn't transition to the thing correctly. I got to set that up as a keybind. So turn all the way away from the target. Take your eyes off of the target and trust your reach back to hit the line. Here, I'm going to demonstrate this. All right. Pretend I'm throwing at the light switch. Okay? I'm throwing a drive straight at the light switch starting right here. My reach back needs to be here. Because from here, the disc can go straight to the light switch without having to curve around my body. If I'm reaching over here, then it has to curve around to get to the light switch. Now out here is a different issue. That's something that not a lot of people struggle with. But you want to reach straight back. That's what I mean by straight. Okay. Next person. That was Bill. This is Samuel. And then maybe Tom will be able to, or Trond will be able to help me. I think it's Tyskling. It's Tyskling. I'm not sure exactly. That's his last name. Let's see. What do I say? He says I say he's okay. Alexander Wright. How do you throw a roller? I will be happy to tell you about that after the Form Check Friday part's done. I'm trying to keep this on pace for anybody who's watching it after the fact, so they don't have to slog through a bunch of question and answer stuff to get to the reason they're here. So, remembering to do the transition here. Now we have, this is Samuel. And let's watch his throw. I think it's in slow motion already too. Nifty. All right, we should watch it a couple more times. All right, so let's break it down here. So the first thing I notice is he's reaching back early. Here his reach back is peaked and his front leg isn't extended or touching the ground. You want your reach back to peak when your front foot touches the ground. So that happens at the same time. That's going to be a lot more powerful. It helps the rest of the timing of the throw just sort of sync up. And then here, as he's throwing, you can see his shoulder angle here is less than 90 degrees. Here, I'm going to do this number. If I go here for his shoulders and here for his arm, that is less than 90 degrees. 90, ba-doop. That's not a small thing. I meant to do. Okay, whatever. I meant to do it like this big. But now it just looks like a snowman. Like some weird kind of snowman. Yes, too early reach back, kaleidoscope. I like that one, kaleidoscope. But the biggest thing I want to talk about here is footwork. So you can see here, he's running backwards at the target. So this is a fairly common issue because people they're trying to run too fast. See, what does Trond say? I pronounced it Tyskling, but it's pretty close. Okay. He's turning around backwards, which is a fairly common issue because people are trying to catch themselves from running too fast into the shot. So you generally want to walk sideways at the target. You don't want to turn around backwards because if you turn around backwards, then you have to turn around forwards to throw the disc. And that just brings way too much into it. It prevents you from staying balanced because you're spinning too much. And it's not great. Not a great way to be very powerful or very accurate, even though it feels like you're being very powerful while you're doing it. Okay, also he has his left hand on the disc. That's a very big no-no. You definitely don't want to have your left hand on the disc. I like to demonstrate this one like this. Transition. Back here, all right. If I reach straight back, this is nice and straight, right? And then I bring my left hand here, and you can see the disc moves like 3 or 4 inches. it's not possible to reach straight back with your left hand on the disc. So take your left hand off. I lift mine up as I reach back, but kind of as long as it's out of the way, it's fine. So that's the next issue that I see. Let's transition back. Oh, my spacebar transitions, nifty. Okay. And then here he's got the disc kind of in the right spot, but he's not pulling it tight into his chest. That's a big thing when people talk about compactness and when they're throwing and that explosive power. You have to pull the disc in here to be pressed down tightly, like compressed, so you can rotate fast, and then the power explodes into the disc. You can't just rip it from the peak of the reach back, because then it won't come tight to your chest. So that's also what Robert talks about a lot, is building momentum throughout the throw. You want to start slow and pull the disc in, and then from here, from when the disc is in front of you, then you explodes forward. And also a proper brace. Okay, his brace isn't as bad as I thought it was, because I learned something since I watched this. He is mostly stopping his forward momentum, but you can see here how he's not like, it seems like he's just not trying very hard to stop it. His like last step here is a bit too small, and he's just falling forward onto his left foot. So you want to focus on using that brace to stop the forward momentum. And here's actually a drill that I've been doing. Well, not necessarily a drill, just a thing. I've noticed when a lot of people throw, it's going to get quieter and louder as I get closer to and farther from the mic. I'm sorry about that. When a lot of good players throw, here, I'm going to do this too. Whoa, whoa. You can see their left leg will kick behind and then whip around as they follow through. Does that make sense? As I'm throwing, it'll go and then like that. Mine doesn't do that. Mine just kind of flies around that way. And that's not going to be as powerful. It's a way to really focus on pushing your momentum forward rather than around, is getting that left foot in front, and then it swings around as you follow through. It's trippy. It's really weird. Loop Ghost has a great video on it. I would definitely recommend checking that out. I think he uploaded it yesterday. Very recently anyway. So that's a great way to work on your braced. Okay. Moving on. I'm out of breath from doing that. Let's go to the next video. This is Jordan Hogland. This is, hang on. I'm going to go through some of the questions here. So what's the best way to fix an early reach back? I generally like a one-step drill. You start with your feet together, and then you reach back and extend your front foot at the same time, and then just focus on extending that and add a step. So you can start from your feet together and then add one step and then do your X step, and focus on staying balanced with your weight over your toes. Any videos for that drill? What drill are you talking about? Oh, the one step. Yeah, it's in my drills video if you check it out. But I apologize for the joke at the beginning. You definitely shouldn't have to suffer through that. I think that's it. Where'd you post it earlier in that chat? I don't see what you're talking about here. But let's talk about Jordan here. Mainly because he's got a pretty sweet mustache. Look at that. It's flowing gracefully. One day, Jordan. Look at this. It's got the little bit of whoop here, and then it goes up and down, a little whoop over there. One day, I will join your ranks. Jordan is an example of having two hands on the disc at the reach back, and his reach back is like 3 steps early. So definitely don't want to have the 2 hands on, and you want to reach back, time your reach back correctly. His reach back is also fairly high. But here, okay, left arm is driving the hips or driving the shoulders, and then all of a sudden he's really well into the power pocket here. Like, these angles here are really good. Like, see this? He goes shoulders, arm, 90 degrees. That's freaking sick. That's a really good pull right there. And then I never know what a spacebar is going to do. I just should not hit it. And then a nice follow through. So he's got the solid form from like here forward. But for getting to this point, I would suggest that Jordan works on reach back timing and keeping his left hand off of the disc during the reach back, and pulling the disc a little bit straighter, just being more efficient with your movement. Because right now he's got a lot of power and a lot of motion, and it's working out for him right now. But it's going to be much more accurate and much more beneficial in the long run to use more controlled and slow motion as you throw. So mainly Jordan was here for the stash, but we're okay with that for now. Let's transition back. All right, and this is Jordan Como. Jordan, let me see. Heavy discs video. Yes, he definitely explains the drills a little bit better than me. I'm not really big on drills because I think it's really easy to learn how to do a drill really good and not learn how it relates to the throw. But he does a great job of explaining that side of it. Waylon McDermott Phillips, can I send you a video now for you to do at the end? If not, where can I send a video for you to do later on in the series? I will post a link to a Google form. I could probably just message it to you, but it's a Google form. You can submit your form. It's on my Facebook page, but I have a lot right now. I have plenty of submissions there, so I wouldn't. I mean, you feel free to submit it, and I will take a look. Or you can message me personally on my Facebook page, and I will reply to you there and critique your form. Not my personal Facebook page, on my athlete Facebook page. But let's check out Jordan here. Was the last guy named Jordan too? He was. Spelled the same way. All right. Couple of Jordans. Jordan here's got a pretty decent pull. This is in full speed, so I'm going to slow it down here in YouTube. Nope, that's speeding it up. All right, we'll play it in slow motion real quick. All right, we'll play it one more time in slow motion. Does anybody see any issues? Anything they would tell Jordan to work on? I'm going to watch it one more time. There's one. Okay, here, I'm going to pause it. All right, so this is an example of pretty good reach back timing. See, his reach back peaks around the same time when his front foot hits the ground. That's pretty good. And his reach back is mostly straight. I'm assuming he's kind of throwing this way. He's not throwing directly in line with the T-pad. Maybe it's like a hyzer flip towards that right side or something like that, or maybe like a turnover or something. His reach back is setting the angle. It's nice and low. That's really good. And he's pulling the disc into the power pocket. Look at that. It's bigger than 90 degrees, which is fine. His left arm could be tight to his side. That would probably make this a little bit closer to 90 degrees, but I would definitely try and get the left arm a little bit tighter to the side. And then the issue I see here is his brace. He's spinning on his toe, and he's not really stopping his forward momentum, right? He's kind of just walking through the shot as he throws it. So Seabass 22 has a great drill on this. It's called the Hirschheiser drill. I think that's how you say it. But that's where you're trying to stop your forward momentum with your brace. That's like the purpose of the brace, is to stop your forward momentum and transfer that into the throw. So to do it, he starts with both of his feet together up against a wall, and then he steps off and pushes it back with his front foot. And that's actually something that I've been working on as well. And I think the little left foot thing is going to help with that too. But that's pushing off against that front thing, and that's going to drive the momentum. And also, I think that's going to help him rotate on his heel. He could plant his front foot here, turned back a little bit more. I guess Paige's isn't very much turned back, but at least she's planting it on her toe. And she's got her hips turned at this point, and his are a little bit more turned forwards. Let's see if we can check out Peter McBride here. See there, he plants it just a little bit more turned back away from the target, and that helps him to transfer that energy into his heel, and he rotates properly. So any questions there? Does that sound about right? Because boy, this next one's a doozy. Not as in like really bad, but next one's got a lot of content to it for sure. For sure. Heavy disc video is good. Have trouble with the trail leg coming forward. Anything you can think of to make sure that the trail leg is coming forward. What I've been doing is focus on staying more over my toes, more over the disc, rather than letting the disc come over top of me. That's good. That helps a lot, where I can focus on getting that momentum forward, getting my hip out front, so I can kick that left leg forward. Right now, I'm consciously kicking it forward, but I'm hoping if I do that enough, it'll sort of evolve into actually throwing. My brother's not watching the live stream. Hello?
Hey, bro, quick question.
Hey, I'm live on YouTube right now.
I'm sorry.
Okay, bye. I gotta love picking on Dave. I have to pick on my brother. Thanks for having a good attitude about it, Dave. What was I even talking about? Yeah, I'm consciously kicking my left foot forward right now, but I'm sure it'll develop into a natural feel. All right, this is Colin. Colin has filmed his in slow motion. Makes it a little bit easier, unless it's playing YouTube slow motion and it's also slow motion. Would you know it? I was doing double slow motion there. That's super slow. Okay. So this right here, this guy throws pretty far. He said he threw like, this shot went like 425 or 400 feet. This is a decently powerful throw. But the issue here is that it's not sustainable. Look at the way he's generating his power. He's getting that angle less than 90 degrees, and he's bouncing his power off of the tendons and ligaments, I don't know, whatever it is, in the back of his shoulder here. That is not healthy. It's not going to allow you to throw very long at all, because if your power is coming from stressing these tendons all the way, maxing out their range of motion and sort of bouncing off of them to throw forward, that's not... I'm going to back up here so you can see my face. Or I could just tilt the camera up too. Nope, the other way. There it is. Sorry about that. Okay. That's not going to be... They're not going to last. You're going to injure that. You're going to get tendonitis. It's going to start to hurt to throw. If you're bouncing off of the tendons here, the muscles in your shoulder. I talked to Seth Muncie about this. It's not very, very healthy at all. So if you're throwing, you don't really want to be using this muscle in your lat. You want to be mainly using the tricep to extend your arm forward, and the rest of the rotational motion comes from your shoulders and your hips and everything. That's why it's so important to have good form, so you can keep playing disc golf for a long time. Pulling the disc in here and then extending means this joint isn't going to move at all. Hardly. It's going to open up a little bit, but that's not coming from maxing out its range of motion this direction and then letting it spring that way. That's not going to be, it's not going to be very accurate or consistent, but it's also, you're going to injure yourself. So I would highly recommend doing some work, resetting back to like a one-step drill, or slowing down everything to where you can throw with a more traditional throw, and then you won't be as prone to that type of injury. Morowski R says, from a beginner standpoint, does the width of the rim on the disc affect your form or the outcome of the throw? Not really. I think deeper discs or like putters tend to be a little bit more nose up for me. Boy, I am really bad at aligning this thing. Yeah, this guy, I'm not really concerned about the other parts of his form, because it's going to take a good bit of retraining just so he doesn't hurt himself. So, yes, the reach back is high. Yes, it's a little bit early, but his front foot is placed down mostly correctly. He could be a little bit more over his left foot here, but mainly I'm really concerned about that shoulder here as he's twisting and he's maxing out its range of motion and then springing it open the other way. I wince every time I see that, because it's not going to be healthy. I need to transition here. His reach back is a little bit high, his front foot is correct, but his left foot could be a little bit more over his toes, but he's going to damage his shoulder doing that. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving medical advice, but Seth Muncie is a physical trainer, he's worked with professional teams, and that is not going to be healthy. Okay. Soapbox. I'm done with that soapbox. All right. What do we got here? This is Chris. Let's see what's up with Chris. All right. Does he play it in slow motion later? Yes. All right. I thought that was this guy. All right. See, pretty good reach back timing. Look, his reach back's nice and low. It's nice and wide. He's pulling the disc mostly straight. And then, all right, I see two issues here. Do you guys see them? The first is he's not pulling the disc in tight to his chest right here. He's got the disc kind of a few inches away from his chest out here, which is the same sort of thing that Colin was doing minus the injury, potential for injury. He's swinging it out away from his chest, and that's not going to be as powerful as pulling the disc in. If you pull the disc in, that's going to compress everything more and let you rotate faster as your arm extends. It's basically like if I were trying to hammer, here, if I was trying to hit this with a hammer, and I went right here, and I hit it like that, that's not going to be as powerful as if I can go back here. Just like if you start, your elbow extending is the effect of throwing the disc. So if you start from here with your elbow mostly open, that's not going to be as powerful as all the way in here where you can get all of that motion into it. Also, his follow through is low. This is an easy way to cause nose up in a throw. His follow through ends up here. When the disc is on a hyzer, his follow through should be more up here, because this angle is going to match the hyzer angle of the disc. Boy, I am so good at graphic design. Why don't they just hire me as a graphic designer? Just be done with video editing, man. Anyway, yeah, you want to follow through up and over your right shoulder, and that's going to help get the nose of the disc down. It's going to help maintain the angle there. I think the rest of his form, this guy's form was really solid. Yeah, he's got a great weight shift there, a nice solid reach back. It's also cold though, so that could be part of the issue. That's why he's not pulling it in tight and why he's not following through high. If your joints are cold, you're not gonna be able to have as clean a form. Drawn got it right, said this is too far from his body and the last step is too long. Yeah, I guess I can see that a little bit. And his left foot does kick. Oh, see, it kicks back a little bit and then it swings around. So he's sort of got it, but it might be a little bit too long. It's really kind of hard to say for me anyway. I'm still learning more about the weight shift and the lower body side, but I'm pretty confident on the upper body side. That is Chris. Then we have Shane. I'm going to transition out of here. Oh, I'm supposed to go to a timestamp. That's right, because it's like a longer video of his whole round. All right, switching back. All right, let's watch it first full speed. Yes, Tron, it does not help when you have to wear all the clothes in the cold, man. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like playing in the cold, because I feel like I'm always pulling my sleeve back so I can get a good grip on the disc. Let's watch it full speed. It's a pretty solid rip. Let's watch it in 25. I'm gonna see if I can do this real quick. Line it up to the other side. Here we go, now you can see when I'm changing that over here. Show us what you got, Shane. Go frame by frame here. There, his reach back is peaked and his front foot hasn't touched the ground yet. But and see, that's one of the things I'm thinking about doing a whole video on reach back, because his reach back starts here, and then if you reach back early, the disc has a chance to lift. And that's not what you're looking for. That lift is almost always going to cause a nose up release. And you can see he does dip it a little bit, and it is a little bit of a nose up. But otherwise, he's got really solid form here. A little bit of that early reach back is causing that nose up. But here, he's coming into the power pocket. That's almost perfect. Not that, this. If I were to draw the little arm angles, it goes there and there. That's 90 degrees. That's almost perfect. That's amazing. Look at that power pocket. His elbow is up. His left arm is at the front side of that shoulder pocket. That's really good. And then his arm extends. And you can see here, he's not moving very fast. Like it's maybe, 6 inches per frame. here. And then from here forward, it's like 2 frames and the disc has traveled 2 feet. So from here forward is where he's really applying the power. That's where he's going, that's where he's torquing it. And he extends and he gets that nice clean release. A little bit of wobble on it. I wonder where the wobble's coming from. Did you guys see that? That's the key to weight shift. You can literally feel the weight shift into the disc when you get it right. Yeah. One of the things that Jason did, that Heavy Disc did, was throw with like a brick in his hand. And I want to try that. I'm excited. I want to grab like 5 discs and tape them all together, but I'd probably break a window or something. Peak of the reach back is there. Pulling the disc in. His left arm is the front side of that socket. An extension. Well, I was trying to see about that wobble. That's what I was trying to see. Well, his follow through is up here. And that doesn't quite match the angle of the disc. I wonder if it's a grip thing. It looks like he might be releasing all of his fingers at once in the grip. When your grip is releasing, I'm going to switch cameras. I always forget to do that. When your grip is releasing, you want to have one final point of contact so the disc can pivot out. Now you're holding onto it with all your fingers. You want to have all that holding onto it, but when it does pop out, you want it to pop out kind of like that versus, you know, all of them coming off at once. Because if they're all coming off at once, the disc isn't going to get as much rotation, and it's going to have a chance to be wobbly because the one of your fingers might catch on it wrong or something might happen. So I like to focus on pinching the disc between my thumb and my index finger here, so I can really feel that last point of contact, and you could feel the pivot and the release out of your hand. All right. I think that's all I have for the Form Check Friday part of this. That was 37 minutes. That is pretty solid. Thank you for watching this. If anybody watches it in post, I guess I'll hang out for a little bit and talk to the chat some. First off, I'm going to straighten up this camera because I know that's been bugging me. It's probably been bugging you as well. I saw a question: how do you throw a roller? So a roller is a shot that you throw an understable disc like it's a very overstable disc, and you throw it lower so it cuts into the ground and rolls. So to throw a roller, for starters, you have to know how to throw an anhyzer. You have to know how to get that nose down and get that aggressive anhyzer angle. And then when I learned how to throw rollers, I took a very understable Renegade and I threw it flat and low, and it would just dive right into the ground and be on a decent angle, and it would roll very, very, very straight and then fall over on its top. And that's a flat release roller is a great way to learn. And then, so you got to find something that's very understable. I recommend like a Prime Witness or even a Diamond, or something like that you can throw flat and low and trust it to dive right into the ground and roll nice and straight. And then as you develop, you can get a little bit more power, a little bit more faster disc. You can start it on an anhyzer and give it just a little bit more air. And then it'll fly farther, and it won't have as much resistance as it's flying through the air. And it'll catch the same angle on the ground, and it'll end up going farther because it doesn't have that resistance throughout the air. But I would start with something very understable and throw it low and flat. Maybe a little bit of anhyzer if you can. But make sure you get the nose down too. Okay. A little high on his chest is what you're saying about Shane's form here. Let me transition back. That's not too bad. His reach back is a little bit high, and he's pulling the disc really well into the power pocket here. I think I wouldn't call that high. I would call that about correct. Beto right pec drill helps with this issue. Okay, that is my least favorite drill in the world. That is how I learned how to play disc golf, and it has caused me a lot of issues. Sorry, I don't mean to sound like I'm jumping on you. No, the Beto right pec drill is a fine drill for learning just how to throw a frisbee, but I don't think it's very good for disc golf because it teaches you to just throw with all your arm extending. And that's the way I throw now, is I rip the disc and then my shoulders sort of turn to follow. And so I don't think that's a good way to learn how to throw. If you're working on rounding, there's several other drills that work better. I would recommend like a wall drill. I would recommend filming yourself from behind. The line drill, or looking down and watching the disc to make sure it's not deviating left to right. There are several other drills that I think work a lot better than the Beto right pec drill to develop power, to develop that feel. The arm arm hanging out seems like it would slow his rotation down. Okay, so I talked about this in the last the last form check Friday. The off arm here is fine. It is hanging out, and I generally do like to see it tight to your side. But if you watch Paige Pierce here, she does the same thing, where see her arm is not tight to her side, but what it is it's at the front side of her shoulder socket. She is keeping her shoulders rotating. It's when the arm is behind your shoulder socket that it's swinging out and slowing down the rotation. But he's doing fine because he's got it towards the front. So I wouldn't recommend learning how to do it that way. I would recommend learning how to throw, keeping it. I move my left hand down the inside of my left leg. That keeps my shoulders compressed, keeps everything rotating efficiently, and that is the way I like to teach. But I wouldn't call what Paige is doing nor what Shane is doing incorrect, because they do get that efficient rotation and that power. Let's see. What was I talking about? Oh, does he have index finger on the edge of the rim? Let's go find out. It doesn't look like it. Enhance. See if we can do this number. Can I zoom in on this? Nope. That doesn't do anything either. It doesn't look like it. I think I can see his finger coming around the bottom there. My Christmas wish every year is to bomb a rock. Okay, but have you heard of an EMAC Truth? They go farther just automatically. So, you know, you might definitely recommend checking one of those out. 175 DX Rock 3, bro, best mid-range. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. My favorite mid-range right now is a Biofusion Verdict. Just a little bit of hyzer, it'll flip up, and because it's an overstable disc that has it's a little bit seasoned, it's going to have that fade at the end. I feel like it's more torque resistant. I really, really like that. The Biofusion Verdict has got a ton of glide too. It's got that dome on the top. It has that beadless feel. Very torque resistant, very far flying. I love that Biofusion Verdict. But then the new Gatekeeper is very similar too. I like that one. Joseph says, critique the video I sent you on Facebook chat if you have time. I'm not critiquing those videos here. I'm only doing videos that I've watched, like I've curated them so I can give the advice the best. Big question. Can you break down what body parts muscles to activate from planting the brace foot until the disc releases? It's kind of all one fluid motion. If you're having trouble with that, I would say work on your reach back timing and make sure your reach back is peaking when your front foot hits the ground. Because, like, I don't know, it's kind of like saying standing up, break down what happens when. It's all kind of at the same time. It's just different speeds, right? So from here where the front foot plants, you've got your left foot engaging to push it forward. You've got your front foot bracing, like tensing up for that balance. You have your core rotating. You have your arm bending. You have everything coming together. And if you try and think about it as if, okay, what needs to fire when? If you try and think about it, okay, I'm going to go heel and then hips and then shoulder and then arm and then something like that, that's going to create all sorts of errors. So you want to focus on being smooth and let everything come together in one fluid motion. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. I'm catching up in the chat. I'm going through the questions one by one. I'll be there eventually. You're welcome, Tommy. Do you recommend slow wide rail for up shots? I generally recommend the wide rail for big power shots because of the way it generates its power, because from that curve. So I wouldn't recommend using it for up shots. If it works for you, go ahead. But up shots are generally kind of about feel anyway, so it's whatever feels natural to you. So I played, during my, it keeps scrolling me to the bottom for some reason. During my reach back, my timing is off and my arm floats slightly above my collarbone. What is the best way to time it so my arm does not float above my collarbones if my legs aren't in time with my pull? So I keep talking about reach back timing. You want your reach back to peak when your front foot hits the ground, right? So you want to go like that, out of your X step. So I would recommend doing that. Like just like now, like I'm in my room here with my computer and everything, and I sometimes it helps to have a mirror so you can see. So I've opened the door to my bathroom and stood way back so I could see myself in the mirror before. But you start here and you feel that timing. So you can feel what it feels like to get that weight shift correct. If you reach back early and then you step forward, the disc is going to lift. I'm demonstrating it there, but that's just what happens in the throw, is the disc is going to lift, or it can leak across, or any sort of thing. You might start your shoulders early, who knows. But if you reach back with the correct timing, that helps everything else, the timing of a lot of other things, fall into place. So if you're struggling with that, I would suggest, number one, practicing like I'm demonstrating, and then also just throwing like this. Like next time, you can't see my face. Next time you're in the field, that looks even stupider. Next time you're in the field, try throwing like that. Like actually throwing a shot here and going boom, and feeling the release and how the weight shift and everything works better. But now I'm getting closer, I'm gonna put back on the hat. Okay, so I played every day for 3 months, then I took 3 weeks off over the holidays, went to do girls' work yesterday and was atrocious. Is there anything, drills or whatever, to stay consistent? I think that's just natural. You took 3 weeks off. That's a pretty long time to take off, but also playing every day for 3 months is a long time to play every day. So I wouldn't, I would start by like lowering your expectations. 3 weeks off is a long time. Rather than going and playing around right away, I would do some field work to try and get your form back. I would film yourself so you know if there's any sort of issues that are developing, and you can move on from there. Chaser 90K says, I want to know if it's just from practicing too much, or if I'm doing something wrong. Would you offer form critiques on putting? I know putting unique to the player, but I've really been working on my putting and making progress, but my right knee has started hurting. I would message, I'm completely blanking, Disc Golf Strong, Seth Muncy. I would message him, because if you're having any sort of pain, that's definitely not my department. I'm not a doctor, even though I did give medical advice earlier. I don't feel comfortable really answering that. Also, I shot a 90 at the Marksman League, so I don't think I'm the best person to talk about putting. Let's see. What's your opinion on the Nova DX? It's a straight flying putter. Warden's better, though. Could you do a video on forehand putter upshots? Upshots 200 feet and in. I have a video on upshots. It's one of the better ones I've made, I think. It doesn't get a ton of views. It gets a good amount, but it's from about a year ago. It's kind of cringy, kind of the old music and it's a throwback video, so I've got like the blackboard behind me and stuff. Roger, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, man. I appreciate it. So for forehand putter upshots, man, that's weird. You generally want to throw with a little bit of nose up on it, and you can trust to keep it on that hyzer. Lots of people tend to throw forehands with that cranked over, but on the upshots, you definitely want to keep them on a little bit of hyzer. Do we have any other questions in the chat? Anything else while I'm here? Because it's 5:48. I'm looking at ending the stream fairly soon, because there's a poker night at DD at the distribution center tonight, and I definitely am trying to go take everybody's money over there. I would say, back to your question, Chaser, it's entirely possible that you've injured it from putting too much, but I don't think that's very likely anyway, especially if it's hurting when you're not putting, like when you wake up in the morning. If it's still hurting then, I definitely would take it easy. It might just be tendonitis from working the joints too much. One thing that really helps me is to actually think through my shots after I throw them, analyze what to do or what you do and adjust. Yes, that helps, but it tends to be kind of frustrating because trying to change things in the middle of the round doesn't always work out so well. So I think that's it. Real quick on the pink hoodie, this was the hoodie that I wore when I first started doing videos consistently here on YouTube. My first video was on footwork, and I stacked up a bunch of discs, and I put my phone in a napkin holder on top of those discs, and I just talked to it, and then I got downloaded a free video editor and put it together, and I wore this for like 2 or 3 videos at that point, and it was not good. But I was gonna make the pink hoodie my thing. I was gonna be the guy with the pink hoodie, and I was always gonna wear the pink hoodie, but didn't really work out very well. Now we're getting some questions in. I don't know if I have a stream delay on or something. DJ Coop says, what's the Trilogy AVR equivalent? I'd say probably a Warden or a Pure, depending on how overstable your AVR is. The Warden is going to be a fairly straight to overstable type, straight to stable finish. That's probably the most similar. And then the Pure is going to be a little bit shallower, a little bit straighter. Go play some cards. Okay, I will. Have I seen Luke Ghost's new video? I haven't seen the one that he posted today. But I did see the one about the left foot, and I actually talked about that earlier in the live stream. If you want to go watch the VOD, as people say, a video after it's posted. So I think that's it. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not going to post the form for doing more form checks quite yet because I have quite a few there, and I kind of feel like I want to give the people who submitted first kind of precedence there. What do you mean debunk the early reach back? I've talked about reach back timing a good bit. So message me on Facebook there, Kaleidoscope, and see if you can elaborate a little bit more, and I can help you out there. Maybe make a video out of it. Who knows? So I think thanks for tuning in, guys, and always remember, slow is smooth and smooth is far.